This is B2Bold, the podcast for B2B marketers and industry players who think differently and lead boldly. I'm Hayley Dole, and each episode I chat with boundary-pushing marketers about what it really takes to grow a brand in today's world. Hello and welcome to today's episode where we talk to APAC Marketing Director Rachel Townsley from Indeed about data to bold ideas, building a consistent brand in a fragmented talent market. Rachel brings over 16 years of global marketing experience and a decade of leadership across the UK, Australia, and APAC markets. She's led diverse teams to success by blending creativity with a grounded human approach. Whether that means breaking silos, encouraging one-team thinking, or finding the fun in serious work. At Indeed, she's spearheading initiatives that go beyond brand building, focusing on connecting job seekers to life-changing opportunities and employers to their next great hire across Australia, India, and Southeast Asia. Indeed is the number one job site in the world, with over 610 million job seeker profiles and 3.5 million employers globally. Welcome, Rachel. Lovely to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here, almost as excited as I am to see the sun out today. So, yeah.
Exactly. It's a nice change. We've had some wet, rainy weather. So data-enriched experiences are probably one of the most powerful ways to create more relevant, meaningful interactions. So I'm really keen to hear your insights. With that in mind, what does your role Indeed look like day to day, and how do you define success in the APAC region?
I lead the marketing teams across Australia, India, and Singapore. Fantastic teams in each of those regions. And mine and my team's primary role is focused on B2B marketing, primarily in the kind of country marketing or field marketing area. So for me, that's really about overseeing local marketing programs that are primarily focused on engaging enterprise employers and specifically those in HR, talent acquisition, recruitment, and employer branding roles across, decision makers and practitioners. Whilst I also work really, really closely with our SMB, our small and medium business teams, and also our job seeker teams. And I see my role very much as a connector. So, I sit in the regions and have teams in each of those three countries. And really it's around connecting with the partners and stakeholders, both locally and globally, sharing insights, performance, aligning on, the local approach and campaigns, and ensuring that everything that we do in the market has, local relevance and authenticity. I guess to your question around the kind of day-to-day role, generally there's a lot of variety. I think probably most people would say that. I spend a lot of my time connecting with global teams and local teams, both my own stakeholders and cross-functional partners in marketing. Time with a lot of agencies in the regions as well. Lots of internal and external presentations, which I love. The fun measurement and reporting, which we all love, and, hands-on time with my team as well. That's kind of the day-to-day. On the success side of things, I think for me and my team, it really is the ability to deliver locally resonant strategies and marketing programs that truly drive business results. So that is, it helps job seekers find their next role and it helps employers find their next hire. And as well as that is to really strengthen Indeed's position as a trusted partner for both employers and job seekers in each market. So that's kind of the summary of the job and how we deem what's successful.
Yeah, great. It sounds like a really busy regional role. And I love how you describe yourself like a connector, because I think that marketing especially, really has that opportunity to work more broadly across the business and be that person within the business. So how do you balance global brand consistency with developing a distinctive APAC voice?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And I always love the global versus local narrative. I come at this with kind of two perspectives. During my time working in the UK, I mainly sat in the HQ or the EMEA HQ and sat on those central teams that was, guiding the at this point, it was in TV. So broadcasters that we worked with across EMEA or teams that we worked with across EMEA as to how the brand should be represented in each of these markets. So I see it from that side. But having sat primarily in field marketing teams since moving to Australia over a decade ago, I also see it on the local side. I think there's definitely benefits of global scale. I feel really lucky at Indeed that we have access to world-class specialists, whether it's in digital or brand or content. And I certainly learn a lot from our partners there. But it's also brilliant that we have, great generalist marketers that are just really good at a lot of things in the market. But that doesn't mean that there's not tensions sometimes with, the global approach and creative and messaging. That doesn't always fit locally. And sometimes I find that conversation is harder in English speaking markets because it does seem like an easier plug and play. If you're taking something from the US, it can work in Australia. And the narrative, I think, sometimes is we're different, we're different. And, realistically, stuff can work from overseas, probably easier in regions like Australia than, say, India, where the market nuances are completely different, and that is truly different. So I always change my narrative to there's unique things about Australia, but there is that tension sometimes. But for us, in India specifically and Australia, we are the challenger brand. We have an entrenched competitor here that's been here for decades. And, local connection and authenticity and to show that we understand the Australian audience is critical. So I'll give you just an example of some work that we've done here in Australia to really kind of table that global brand consistency, but also showing up distinctively. So when I joined, I think it became clear there's so many different teams working on the Australian business across the globe, which is awesome. But it also means it can be hard to show up consistently. And when you are a challenger brand and you really need to build the awareness and recall, it's really, really important to show up in a consistent manner. So we worked with a local agency to develop a local brand proposition, tone, and personality that felt very authentic to the region and like truly Australian for both job seekers and employers. And it was important that it complemented our global positioning. It wasn't totally different. It was, very much a local take. And when we got there and we were happy with the proposition, we developed a toolkit that became an internal toolkit and an external one for the partners we work with in the region to really roll out like what this personality is. This is how we show up. This is the tone. This is what the look and feel is. And again, very complementary. It wasn't, in stark contrast, but that's been amazing because it really is helping us to show up in a consistent manner, whether it's on a radio ad or a social post or a display ad or, a brochure for some employer research. So that's been really, really valuable to us. And I think, me and my team, we continue to champion the local markets, to share insights, nuances, to really help bring central teams that work on our regions in and ideally build APAC advocates. So we have teams across the globe, but they very much feel part of, the local business so that everything that we do and that goes out feels authentic and is truly going to resonate with the local audience. So that's that global versus local approach.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's great that you're kind of not taking a cookie cutter approach, but you're taking some of those key learnings so you're not actually having to reinvent the wheel each time and you can roll out at a greater speed probably as well, having those on board. So what's one insight you've uncovered about employers or job seekers in APAC that shaped how you market in the region?
Probably answer this in a different way and not necessarily talk about one specific, but I think if I think about our marketing efforts across APAC, research is so central to the work we do and often becomes that kind of hero piece of a program that then has various offshoots. So we continually gather and track employer and job seeker perceptions, sentiment, motivations, and behaviors to really understand the evolving needs. And then we adapt our marketing to these, because we want our marketing to be useful and valuable and enjoyable to each of these audiences. So it's really important that we kind of have that, we've got you because we get you approach. With our research that we run, we will generally run it for both job seekers and employers. So we will be asking, very similar questions to be able to look at comparisons. And what's interesting with these is there's often a gap between what job seekers say what they want versus what employers think they want. And as a marketer, we always love these stories because it gives us something really interesting and useful to talk about. So we kind of see our role in that as to bridge the gap and be able to leverage these insights to shape our campaigns, to shape our creative, both within, my team and the country marketing team, but also to be able to share that broader with, our partners in brand and social, because these insights are also really important to the work that we do with them as well. So that's kind of an example of how we use it in marketing. But I'll also just share something that we feed back a lot of local market insights and nuances back into the business as well. We are a big business. We operate in, a lot of countries. And each market has different nuances, as I mentioned in that last question. So if we take India, for example, India is a sourcing-led market. If we think about knowledge workers that need a job, employers are going to go and contact them. So, which is a bit of a different approach to the traditional job search model that Indeed was built around. So even things like this, it's important that we table these insights up and discuss these at a central level, because things like this, it's become a really big discussion point for us internally. And things like this have led to new product tests, and it reshapes how we approach our job seeker programs. We might not focus on let's get as many account creates as we can and focus on profile acquisition instead. So there's different nuances like this. So they're being used in our marketing strategies, but they're also being used at a broader business level as well to ensure that we're delivering value to employers and job seekers in each of these markets. So insights really important to us in the market and also at a business level as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You're really taking on that connector role, not only internally within your own business, but externally between the job seekers and the companies looking to employ people, but then also feeding that back in again, so a full loop back into the business learning. So that's amazing. So with access to so much data, how do you turn insights into bold, creative ideas that actually land with your audience?
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge, right? Is that we have no shortage of data. So there's so much out there, and it really is about finding those insights and finding the story within it. And, AI is massively helping here to surface these insights. I think those days where you spend 2 days going through data tables, I'm thankful that we don't have to do that anymore and we have tools to help us. But it's turning those insights into bold ideas. I think some big ways that we do this at Indeed is in our work with our agency partners. So when we're working on, say, brand campaigns, we will always share the audience insights that we have and really dig in to find those golden nuggets that will ultimately help to build our strategic approach and our proposition, which in turn goes on to be the backbone and really fuel that bold creative executions. And we really ensure that they are all tapping into those insights. So that's really core in the work that we do with our agencies. But I think more generally as well, even at a country level in, the B2B programs that we run, is that we try and kind of follow a data, insight, story, creative execution approach. So we are always leaning into that data. We are trying to find those really interesting, like, what are the new insights that people don't know, to be able to craft that really compelling story and then develop bold creative to take out, to the market that cuts through and resonates with the local audience. So we stay focused on those audience needs, the insights, the pain points, and then we use data for a springboard for creativity. But yeah, it very much is, the blending of the heart and the science, because data is great. But again, you really need that human element, in my belief, to really go out there with these creative, bold ideas.
I love that. You're really using data in a really conscious way where you understand, like, that's where you're going to kind of ground everything in reality, but you're not allowing that to limit the creativity. So yeah, it's amazing to see. With the explosion of AI and automation in both marketing and recruitment, how do you ensure your brand continues to feel human and trusted? And what are you seeing from employers in terms of their readiness for these changes?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting conversation, and it's something we talk about a lot at Indeed. I think for us, with our brand, the human is at the core of what we stand for at Indeed and our mission. And our mission is we help people get jobs. And I think, there's a few key words in there, but the people element, finding a job is so human. And, they're behind every application, behind every resume. There is a real life person there just wanting to be seen, to be heard, to be given an opportunity. So that really is at the core of what Indeed is here to do and our mission. And even in our B2B marketing efforts, we talk a lot about, human plus AI as the new hiring blueprint. Because AI brings, efficiency, but humans remain at the center of hiring. If you think about the people that we're talking to in HR and talent acquisition, um, they probably got into these roles because they have a passion for that human connection. They are central to the business unit. They are critical in bringing the right people in that can, impact the business in a positive way. It's a very human role. So it really is about ensuring that technology is enhancing rather than replacing those human connections and that personal touch. For us, and with the local brand proposition that I mentioned earlier for Australia, we really lean into the human element as part of that personality. It's we've got you because we get you. We are a trusted advisor. We're not another corporate voice. We're not talking to you in jargon. We're not churning things out, just using AI. And everything we put out, we assess with, very much that human hat on every day. But we can do that because we have this proposition outlined. We know the tone, we know the personality, we know how it shows up, and human is certainly at the core of that. So that helps us locally. In terms of employee readiness or employer readiness with our audience across APAC, there's certainly appetite there, and we are seeing rapid adoption of AI across the workplace, whether that is AI tools, whether that is employers building their own systems, because there's significant demand for AI-powered hiring tools because of its impact on, productivity and efficiency. I think for anyone that's been in a hiring manager role, even 5 years ago, you could be sent 100, maybe 500, maybe 800 resumes to review. And that was really timely, but you wanted to give, your all to it because 800 people have spent their time. They want to work at your organization. But it takes a lot of time and mind space. So it's just brilliant now that there is tools that can, look at who are the top 10% of candidates that meet the needs for my role. And it's saving so much time and money. And it also allows those professionals to get back to why they got into the job, which is that human connection and the more human elements of the role. So we are seeing adoption. And I think, there's recent research that talks about adoption rates across the globe. And actually, India adoption rates are far higher than many other regions, some that we think were probably more progressed, such as the US and China, and Singapore as well. So again, there's different levels of adoption, but there's certainly appetite across the board.
Yeah, great. There's definitely some mixed sentiment out there from both sides, but it's great that you guys are kind of adopting the view of the customer from both the employer and the and employees. So yeah, I'm sure it's only going to continue to grow, and as AI emerges, when we adapt to it, I'm sure it'll be more and more beneficial. So, wrapping up, what is one bold idea you would love to try if there were no limits?
Yeah, this question got my brain thinking because there's so many things I would like to try. But I came back to something that I actually thought about and talked about when I interviewed for Indeed, like over 3 years ago, which really is focused on kind of a career fair model. So if we think about, career fairs or graduate fairs, um, they're usually restricted to key metro cities. They're a 1 day, 2 day event. So if you can get there, great. But a lot of people don't live in the metro cities and a lot of people have commitments. So my idea was to launch a virtual career fair that maybe spans a week, maybe spans a month, but is accessible to all, probably focused on the younger demographics, but something that could allow job seekers and employers to connect in real time. And whether that is through AI agents, gamified experiences, immersive environments, all of the above, I think it would be really cool. And I think building something like an immersive environment that is a bit of a choose your own adventure. So for job seekers, they can get end-to-end support. If they want career advice, they could attend a workshop on resume building or pay negotiation, and that could pull through from our career guide resources. If they wanted to know what it's like to work for a specific company or what their flexibility is like or what questions they ask in the interview, we could power that by our company page data across Indeed and Glassdoor, which has millions of employee reviews. They could upload their skills and run skills assessments to really unlock that tailored career and job recommendations and help them find their next role. Maybe they don't even know what that role is. And on the employer side, it gives them the access to potentially look at these skills and find the right people for their roles that isn't just based on experience, but it takes their skills and can take a skills-based hiring approach, which again would be more inclusive. They could run virtual workshops or assessment centers. They could have one-on-one conversations with potential candidates. So I just thought this would be a great immersive opportunity, specifically for the younger generation that are kind of within these environments already, and kind of blending that best of technology, but also with the human connection and the ease of access to employers that has that scale and is inclusive to all, not restricted to, being in a specific place at a specific time, but really focused on kind of making job seeking and hiring engaging, accessible, and personal as well. So I would love to see this come to life. I think it'd be really cool. I would love to see the engagement. So I think it would be a really good kind of B2C and B2B paired campaign.
I love it. It's really visionary. It's almost like the job seeker and career metaverse. I'd love to see that come to life as well. Hopefully you managed to get that happening. So thank you so much, Rachel. It's been really lovely to have you join us, and I've really enjoyed hearing all your insights today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.